Hi, how's everyone out there doing? This is Amy Hamilton, author of The Consummate Communicator, Character Traits of True Professionals, and The Project Manager. Life is a project. And I will tell you, today is a really big undertaking and project for me. 24 authors in 12 hours. I've been through my first author, James Woosley, absolutely phenomenal, and also my agent, as well as Phil Moser's agent. Phil, can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Um, yeah, I wrote this book from my heart. It's about a personal experience that I had in my life. To me, it's about the power of the human spirit to not only survive but thrive in the face of adversity of a rare and incurable disease, much like what we're dealing with COVID. And it's also a story about the unending love between a father and a daughter. And it's also an adventure story that will take you to places you never heard of and will leave you wanting more. So I feel it was a great story that needed to be told. And I'm really glad I had the opportunity to do that.
And Phil, you have some special things going on with this book right now. Some awards, I believe, and also some potential
Yeah.
projects. Do you want to share those?
Yeah, this story really evolved into something really special. Um, I was nominated for Story of the Year in newspaper and also television. And they said the story was so good that I should write a book, and that's what I did. And it's now been submitted to Hollywood. It's in 4 production companies being reviewed for a movie in Hollywood. So I'm really excited about that.
So that is really exciting. So I know that you're having technical difficulties. I can hear a little bit of feedback. Just for everybody right now, is Phil was so kind to do this. He's got a full day ahead of him, and he is actually in a hotel room right now, and he's put up this wonderful cover, like cover of his book and everything, and he's doing a super great job, and I'm so excited to have him here. Phil, what's your advice on writing a book from the heart? Because this seems like this had to be like truly a bearing of your soul. What's your advice to authors who are in that kind of state?
The best advice I ever received was the person that edited my book told me, just start. Because I was terrified of writing a book. And she gave me that advice. And one day I sat down and I thought about it for a long time. When I sat down, I started writing and it just took off. She was absolutely right. The hardest part was just starting. And once I started, I couldn't put the genie back in the bottle again. And it just went from there. And it was just an amazing journey, something I never thought I could accomplish in my lifestyle or my life. And it has changed my life and for good. And I guess that's the best advice I could tell you is just start. Even if it's not perfect, that was my problem, was I was too hard on myself on my writing, that I would write it and no, that don't sound right. No. And no, just get it down on paper. We can fix the things that aren't just right. And so just start.
More important too, which is right now during COVID, it's easy to be hard on ourselves. It's easy to realize, like, you look around your house and you realize, oh, this probably needs some paint. You're like got the same, 4 walls around you a lot of times. So I think it's a really, really kind of important concept of being kind to ourselves. And that's such a powerful message. I have your website scrolling across the bottom. Do you want to share with us what will somebody get when they go and visit your website? What kind of services do you have to offer?
Probably there's avenues to purchase a book, obviously, but the thing that I'm really proud of, besides just the book, my daughter Brittany had a video production degree with the goal of making movies in the movie industry in Hollywood. And so I was able to make a video in her honor, and it is on the website. And you'll probably most likely need a Kleenex with you if you watch the video. It is very touching from my heart, but I'm so proud of it. It's something else I never thought I could do, and it turned out great.
You know, you're really like, no matter the adversity you face, you can overcome this and you can really kind of go to the next level. And one of the things I'm doing today is I'm featuring veterans. And part of the reason that we have the Free Agent Press veterans is because James Woosley is an Air Force veteran, and I really want to promote him and the work that he's done having a veteran-owned small business. Can you talk a little bit about your journey working with James and Free Agent Press?
James was great. How I met James was an act of fate. While I was completing my daughter's bucket list, I was sitting in an airport in Phoenix, Arizona, waiting to board a plane to go to Grand Junction, Colorado. And the person next to me, out of the blue, strikes up a conversation with me and asks me if I have any family in Grand Junction. I said, well no. I says, it's a long story why I was going to Grand Junction. I'm not sure if you want to hear it or not. And so she's paused for a minute, and then she asked me again. She says, well, now you have to tell me. And so that person is the person that you're going to interview at 3:00 today. And she was the one that had a book with James. And she says, if you ever write this story into a book, that she would strongly recommend James Woosley, her person that helped her publish her book. And so that's how the connection evolved. And it's been absolutely great.
So for the audience out there, I don't want to leave them on a cliff here. That person was Christine.
Yes.
And so let's make sure that we give a little shout out to Christine Odell. And she is going to be on at 3:00 today. And it's really interesting how everything is interconnected. So if you're listening now, please tune in to 3 and you can hear about the amazing Christine who had the story. So that's pretty exciting.
Yes, we keep in touch on certain things whenever we can. And as soon as this COVID is over, we're going to go out and visit her out in Colorado. And we were going to go this summer and we didn't because of COVID. But
and Phil, where are you
next summer?
Where are you right now in this hotel room?
Excuse me?
I said, where are you based out of normally, and where are you right now in this hotel room?
I live at Hamilton Lake, Indiana, but I do a lot of work in Ohio, and it's too far a drive, so I stay the whole week, every other week in hotel rooms instead of doing all the driving.
Great. So lots of busyness. And we were talking about your journey into James, and we went on a little journey ourselves on this little segue here. But so you were mentioning, so Christine is the one who put you in touch with James, and then what was your experience working with James?
Absolutely great. I just was totally, for me, it's uncharted territory to have someone that had the expertise, but more importantly, seemed to personally care about your story, meant all the world to me. And he was very detailed in what to expect and when to expect it. And that helped a lot. I would totally recommend James to anybody that's wants to produce a book.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. We're about halfway through this segment right now. And one of the things that I would like to do is let the audience know that for me, my books are available all day on Kindle, free from Amazon. So if you go to the Consummate Communicator or to the Project Manager Life as a Project, you can download those on the Kindle free. Also, all the proceeds, 10% of proceeds from the print books today will go to the Wounded Warrior Project. A lot of what we're doing today is featuring veterans, veteran-owned organizations. I have my little airborne bug here for everybody. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about as well, Phil, is do you have any other veteran affiliations?
My wife's family, her sister's kids have all been in the military. And so it's great to honor all them. And so I have some, affiliation.
That's great. I mean, something today. So we're going to go back to your book. What can a reader expect to get out of your book?
I wrote it with the intent of taking the reader along with me on a journey of a lifetime. And it's an adventure that you will probably never forget, as I want to share the same inspiration that I received from my daughter and this journey that we went on together, that in the end, love conquers all. And that's what's important in life, especially, you know, when we're dealing with this COVID, we've had time to deal with what's important. And my story really connects with a lot of the things that are going on with COVID. There are a lot of similarities. And I'm going to take the reader on a journey they will never forget. And I will never forget it. And that's the response that I've had once they started picking up my book and reading it. They couldn't put it down. And that was my intent.
So I don't want to have a lot of stuff about COVID right now, and the fact that, you know, this is a very different time. It's for a lot of people, it's a very hard time, and so this sounds like the kind of book that, you know, gives people inspiration and hope in a time when we really need that the most. Like, we really need that hope.
Right. And that's what I tried to communicate. No matter what life throws at us, we still have the power to overcome the difficulties with a positive attitude, and love will overcome anything that life throws at us. And my daughter was a perfect example of that. And I'm inspired for the rest of my life by her example. I just have never met anybody, and that's the way she described her life, was free and fearless. And that's how she lived her life. And it's just an inspiration to me. And I will keep telling this story till to my last days, how I was touched by this person and how this person touched other people.
That's such an important thing, that once you make your book, it lasts beyond you as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The biggest joy that I get is when I get a comment from a complete stranger that they read my book and was brought to tears of the love and the joy that we shared with one another, that lives on. And it's being able to touch total strangers in a way that you never could anywhere way else. So
Phil, I am putting the link to your book, which is available on Amazon right now, into the comment section, so people can get a copy of your book. Besides Amazon, how else can people get copies of your books, Free and Fearless?
I can actually mail you a copy if somebody'd want to do that. I'm on Facebook on Philip Moser. You can connect with me there. Like I said, you can connect on my webpage. There's places to connect with me there. And I'll be happy to give anyone or that would want a copy. It's a very inspirational read.
Wonderful. So for those of you who are interested in Being Fearless, the ticker at the bottom here, and this is also where you can view the video that Phil has mentioned, freeandfearlessbook.com. And then you can see also in the chat area where you can get a copy on Amazon. And so your book, Free and Fearless, during COVID, I think there's another important concept on this. And that's also that right now there's a lot of people who are losing members of their family. And so what are your thoughts on your book as something for people to read to give them that hope when they have lost a loved one?
I would say that the love that you share, true love never dies. If you are fortunate to have a connection with the loved one that you had, that love never dies. And I try to convey that in my book, that I should be devastated by the loss that I've had in my life, but the love that I've got and that we shared lives on, and it won't allow me to be devastated. And it's tough. The loss is tough. But I think the person that we lose wouldn't want us to be devastated by their loss. They'd want us to be inspired by having them in our lives, and that's what's happened for me, and I want to share that same inspiration.
So you really hope in a different way. Instead of the grieving, it's celebrating a life.
Yes, absolutely. That's where all the focus in my book is on the positive of living life to the fullest and make the most of the time that we do have. And despite what happens to us in life, whatever obstacles we have to face, that love and optimism and inspiration can endure. And it doesn't have to be devastating.
So you also have your wife and daughter still with you, correct?
Yes.
And how have they felt about the book, and what is their perspectives on after you've written the book?
I think they were a little shocked that I would ever consider writing a book, but they've been great. They've really proud of me that that this story needs to be told. It has touched our lives, and if you can't share it, then I almost feel selfish if I don't share the story with the world. It's something that really needs to touch other people, and it has, and that sustains me. It makes sense of her passing, that we can still inspire other people to live life fully.
And how old was she when she passed away?
She was 32.
So very, very young life, very cut short early in her life.
She was living the dream, and then things kind of went the other direction.
And of course, the relationship between a father and a daughter, a very special relationship indeed.
This people tell me is a one-of-a-kind story about one-of-a-kind relationship you just normally don't hear about. We had an unbreakable bond in life and in death, and it's still there. And I think that's what makes my story special, is you just don't hear the incredible bond that we shared that can endure anything that life throws at us.
Phil, that's such a good point. We can endure anything. And we're getting close to the end of our segment. And one of the things, is there anything that you want us to talk about that I have not asked you about yet?
Two goals for me for writing this book and telling the story, at least two goals. One she had a rare and incurable disease that doctors didn't even recognize it. Addison's disease. One of my goals is to bring awareness to Addison's disease, so the medical community can recognize this and treat this better. Of course, I'm always for a cure. I donate $1 for every one of my books to the National Adrenal Disease Foundation that support people with Addison's and bring awareness to the medical community. And the other goal that I had is I want to inspire others to live life fully the same way that I've been inspired for 32 years. It's absolutely incredible. And like I said, the love never goes away and the inspiration never goes away. It's that powerful of a story. And that's why I want to make a movie. Her goal was to make movies in Hollywood. And so now my goal is to make a movie in Hollywood about her life. And that will complete her legacy. And so 4 years later, I'm still working on completing her legacy. And it sounds very good. I've had an interview already that sounded very good. It's just Hollywood they pressed the pause button on making movies right now. But I got a lot of things in the works, and I'm sure something's going to happen. I just have that feeling. Whenever she put her mind to do something, it happened. And that's the confidence that I have too, that something's going to happen. I'm not exactly sure, but I have that feeling.
So Phil, I'm going to put the link for the National Adrenal Disease Foundation here into the comments so people know that this is the organization that you're talking about so that they can donate. Sure. And Pam, I see your comments, and yeah, really appreciate that comment about, no parent having to outlive a child. I mean, it's so true. And also just an amazing way, Phil, that you're handling this. Instead of turning this into a tragedy and letting it depress you, that instead you're using this for inspiration and to inspire others, especially in a time when people need inspiration.
Well, when you read the book, you'll see the things that she did actually she knew she probably wasn't going to survive this disease. And so she made some plans to prepare everybody in case of her passing. She'd almost died twice before. And so those things that she did, I've never heard anybody ever do to prepare their family members for someone's passing. It's absolutely incredible. I'm still inspired to this day of what she did.
Check out Phil's book, Free and Fearless, and you can go to freeandfearlessbook.com, or the link to the Amazon, how to order is there. And as well as if you want to find out more about Addison's disease, please check out nadf.us. You can also donate to that organization. Such a good cause. And once again, Phil Moser is part of the authors who are from Free Agent Press. It's a veteran-owned organization by James Woosley. We're super happy to have you here today, Phil. Thank you so much for your time. I know you've got a busy, busy day ahead. Yeah. So you were like, I could do this, but I have to do this like super early. And so really appreciate you being here during my morning coffee.
Yeah, once you get me talking, it's hard to quiet me up on this subject. But yeah, I do have a busy day. I will admit that. But it was super talking to you.
Thank you. Have a great day, Phil. And thank you for those who are listening. We're going to have our next author next. And also, as mentioned, 3 o'clock, you can listen to Christine, who got Phil into this entire
she's
thing.
Actually played a small part in this story that it's truly amazing. It's unbelievable.
Great. Thank you, Phil.
All right. Thank you.